Hello. The title of the show today, it's going to be a quick show, is Are You a Genetically Modified Organism? So here's what's interesting. We all talk about how we don't like to eat genetically modified organisms. We don't like animals to be genetically modified. But what's interesting is I think people are lacking reasoning skills, so we don't want to eat plants and animals that are genetically modified, yet Pfizer, politicians, and bureaucrats tell us to take an mRNA vaccine and genetically modify ourselves because it's coding for protein, so it's a genetic modification, and, we just run to do it. So, are you a genetically modified organism? The answer, I would say, is absolutely. If you take these vaccines, you're a genetically modified organism. And what's interesting is there's a case, it's called Diamond versus Chakrabarty. I think that's the name of the second one. But you can easily look it up on Google Scholars. And it says, the fact that something is alive is no bar to patentability. And what's interesting is that you don't even have evidence of a licensing agreement because you didn't pay for it. So to me, and just follow my logic, and if there are researchers here, you can follow up on this, but to me, the government paid for it, so they get the licensing agreement, and technically, you're considered their property, or at least the vaccine company's property, because you have no licensing agreement. You agreed to do it on your own accord, so you're considered a genetically modified organism. And what's crazy to me is we rail on Monsanto, we rail on these, food companies that are doing this, and then as soon as a politician or a bureaucrat says, hey, take this mRNA vaccine, we don't even do our research. We don't even look to see what the consequences are. And what's interesting is that there, nobody looks into other potential methods of, like prophylactics, like it's proven that ivermectin and corticosteroids work. I mean, the research is out there. The real problem with COVID-19 or any viral infection is the reason why people die is because of the inflammation. So the corticosteroids reduce the inflammation. And there are several, it's on the CDC website, just because they say that it's a horse dewormer, that's like saying water is horse water. It doesn't mean that we don't drink water too, so it makes no sense. And the CDC has several, uses in humans. And Joe Rogan got a lot of crap for it. So the question is, are you a genetically modified organism? And if you take this vaccine, yes. Then the question is, are you a patented product of either the government or the vaccine, these drug companies, because you don't have a licensing agreement with them? Perhaps the government does. I don't know. But it's something for people to research. I think it's something that's not talked about. Are you a genetically modified organism? I just want to put it out there. And that's it. I'm trying to think of what else I had to say about this. I think there were a couple things that I had to say, but I can't really remember. I can always do another show because this one will be short. But, let's use our reason. We won't eat foods that are genetically modified, yet we'll put stuff in our body that genetically modifies us. And, here's a point that I want to make. So they genetically modify food because it's resistant to pesticides. Well, yet we still don't like it. Well, our version of a pesticide or a pest is a virus. And what I noticed was, back here, I planted in 2020, I planted some stuff. And I noticed that when the pests were on the plant, the pests were on the plants. But what I noticed is that the skin was much stronger and tougher. So what that means is it had, when you don't have the pesticides and it has to fight off the pests itself by creating thicker skin, you create a plant or a fruit or a vegetable that's much more nutrient dense, that has things in it that are good for our bodies. And it's the same thing. When we just let ourselves naturally become immune, we become stronger. Not literally in like a muscle sense per se, but we become, our immune system becomes stronger. And I think these vaccines, this is anecdotal, I think they kind of make us weaker, to be honest. And who knows what kind of effects they have. So to me, You know, it's just, we're not using reason. We're not operating under principles like, if it applies here, why doesn't it apply here? So that's it. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but it's something for people to think about, something for people to research, and that's it. Have a good one.